Right, too much 2024, and today I'm going to be continuing my coverage of the dramatic events from yesterday, and this is to do with the bomb scare and gun threat at the Victoria Falls airport. So as I promised yesterday, I'm going to be looking at what the newspapers are saying today, and I've looked at all the papers. There is no one that has got new information in terms of what happened, who was behind it, and what it means. So all the newspapers, as you know, are basically controlled by the Mnangagwa family. So all the newspapers that you know that are in public are controlled by the Mnangagwa family. That is the newspapers from Trevor Ngube and the newspapers from the Zim Papers table. And basically, the information that you're going to get is probably the information that you're going to get from social media. And then obviously there's me, Gambakwe. I'm going to give you analysis. And I've been doing a lot of digging. And one of the things that I've been looking at is what did the ED government do after they received the email of the bomb scare or military or arms scare, that there are guns over there at Victoria Falls. So the reaction that Mnangagwa did was to close the Victoria Falls airport and also to close the Harare airport. And he probably closed other ports of entry. But the most telling thing that has happened is to close the communication channels of the military. So the biggest and most important thing that they closed was the military website. And I want you guys to go to zna.gov.za.zw and see what happened there. They've closed that website. So this is probably one loophole that many people have not seen. So they would have looked and said, if there's a coup in Zimbabwe, where would people communicate? So one of the things that they did was to close the website of the military. So if you look at the Zimbabwe website of the military, it has been closed. You cannot access it anymore. This website has always been accessible. It's got information about the command, about the locations of the military structure, about the bases of the Zimbabwe. So if I went into that website previously with you guys, and the amount of information that was here was so much. Who is the commander? What are the numbers? How do you contact the military? Which division is where? It was all on that website. So the Mnangagwa government or the military command, they closed that website, which means that they anticipated threat not only to come from within, but also from outside. So they were expecting people to fly in, which is why they closed the airports and redirected flights. And at the same time, they closed the website. They also probably did other things at the bases where they're soldiers. So that is one important sign that ED did not consider what was happening yesterday an isolated incident. He actually considered this as a coup that was taking place across the country. And Ashley, you're laughing. The truth is that ED is very, very scared. He's very, very scared. He thought that there was a coup taking place yesterday. And what I've just shown you, that they closed, they were now adopting the protocol of what they should do when there's a coup. Unfortunately, what this has done is that if someone is planning a coup, they now know the steps that the Zimbabwe government is going to take. So was this a test by someone to say, if I'm going to do a coup, let me see what who is going to react, who's going to be where, who's going to stand where, who's going to be deployed. So it's clear now that if someone wanted to stage a coup, they would do a first test. And this first test is probably what we saw here yesterday. So as I said, there's no new information. I've looked at all the newspapers. There's no new information on that coup, except to say that the airports were closed, all the airports were closed, and now they've been opened. And as I said to you, the website of the army was shut down as one of the communication channels. And then in terms of the relationship between Mnangagwa and the guys in the military, The relationship between Mnangagwa and the guys in the military is very bad, especially the generals. So according to my sources, the generals believe that Mnangagwa wants to have a third term, but before he has a third term, he wants to eliminate them. That is what they believe, and this is what I've been told. And so most of them have been said to they no longer eat in the army barracks, they no longer eat in the canteens, and they're taking special precautions about their life and their safety. This includes General Chiwenga, and I believe that General Chiwenga has upped his security, but I cannot confirm it. I cannot confirm that General Chiwenga has increased his security. But what I know is that there is mistrust between ED and the rest of the generals. So these are open secrets. These are easily things that are being communicated among the security people. And therefore, the period between now and the end of Mnangagwa's term is going to be very, very difficult for everyone, including the ordinary Zimbabweans. It's not going to be the normal period that you know. So a lot of people are going to run between now and that time. It's not going to be easy for Mnangagwa. If I was Mnangagwa, what I would do right now is to step down or to hit Chamisa's score for a fresh election and eliminate the threat. The threat is coming from the fact that there's disputed elections, there is destabilization in the military by Mnangagwa's actions, appointing his son, appointing close relatives, moving people around in the army without notice. And so the military guys don't know what is going to happen. Today Mnangagwa does this, tomorrow he does another thing. And so this is destabilizing to the military. You saw what Mnangagwa did during that public address, where he dressed down the guys in the military band. That is trending right now, where Mnangagwa is saying, that song you're singing is not the correct one. So everyone is on an edge. But yesterday, Mnangagwa feared that a coup was now in progress, and therefore he adopted the protocol, including shutting down the website of the army, which I've just shown you now, that the Zimbabwe military website was shut down. All communication channels were shut down, and Mnangagwa believes that if a coup was to take place, external forces would be involved. So people will come from outside. That is why they shut down the airports. Now, let me quickly go through other news. As I said, there's no new stories here. I didn't see anything new about this incident. No one knows, and anyway, they will not publish it because Mnangagwa is in control of all the newspapers. Then I want to go to the news. Moreblessing Ali. That is the story today. The burial of Moreblessing Ali is today, and Job Sikhala has shared that on his Twitter. So you can go and look at Job Sikhala's Twitter. It's going to be at Zororo Cemetery. So he's given all the directions of what is going to happen. So go over there and support Moreblessing Ali. She was killed over 2 years ago. The family did not bury her. They said they will not bury her until Job Sikhala was released. And they're only burying her now because Job Sikhala has been released. Nelson Chamisa has made a short tweet, and his tweet is very, very simple. It says, leadership is a service, not a benefit. Blessed Friday. That is what Nelson Chamisa has tweeted. Normally, Chamisa tweeted blessed Sabbath, but today he tweeted blessed Friday. Yesterday he tweeted blessed Friday. Very, very interesting. I've never seen that from Chamisa. Blessed Friday. I normally hear blessed Sabbath. Now let's go to other stories. Monica Mutsvangwa. So there's a lady in Mozambique called Kerina Mujati. She's been making certain claims about the Mutsvangwas. So she's saying here, a very good afternoon, Zimbabwe. It has come to my attention that Monica Mutsvangwa handed in her resignation yesterday. Well done, Monica Mutsvangwa. Usamiriri kuurairwa murume sambai mujuru. Vakaramba vari vice president, even murume auraiwa. Vachibva vazodzingwa sembwa na ED Mnangagwa. If Chris Mutsvangwa is unwanted by ED, how can you be welcome as you would be a threat? I applaud you for taking that decision. Life goes on and be safe. So I don't think Kerina is a reliable source. I think she has called me once, but I don't think she's a reliable source. And I think she's just spoiling here. That's 4:21 p.m. yesterday. I don't think the Mutsvangwa guys are a threat to Mnangagwa. So I think there is unhappiness in ZANU-PF. But I don't think Mnangagwa would fire people in ZANU-PF in that way, because then he will increase the number of people that want to attack him. So I think what will eventually happen is the military guys are going to take control. This is my view here. The guys in ZANU-PF, they're a cartel. So everyone in ZANU-PF, in their offices there, they're a cartel. They only have one thing in common, which is to acquire as much wealth as possible. And the guys in the military are going to have to eventually bring order to ZANU-PF. That is what is going to happen there. It's not going to be Mutsvangwa and Mnangagwa firing each other. That's not what you're going to see. Mohadi was not fired after that give me a cup comment. And you can see what it's not about ZANU-PF anymore. Someone else has to step in this situation. And it won't be Mnangagwa dealing with it. And it won't be Chwenga dealing with it. It has to be something that is from outside. That's why I always tell you about the third force. It's going to play a very big part going forward. And when it happens, you're going to see it happening in public. So everything that is going to happen going forward is going to happen in public. So I don't think Mutsvangwa has resigned. Why would Mnangagwa not announce it? And why would you wait for it to resign? If Mnangagwa wanted to fire Mutsvangwa, he would just fire her. So I don't think that's the issue. I think Kerina has to revise her thinking here. She does tweet a lot about this issue. And as I said, she has called me once or twice before. I don't think she has any special information at all. She was part of the Kasukuwere guys who ran from Zimbabwe. And I've seen her in Mozambique with the family. So I don't think she's a reliable. She has reliable information. She also hears information from the grapevine. The same grapevine that we all hear information from. But this picture is very interesting. This is a picture of General Chwenga. General Chwenga with Provincial Affairs and Devolution Minister Richard Moyo and Energy and Development Minister Edgar Moyo. So if I'm not mistaken, these guys are the brothers of this guy who was fired yesterday. So if I'm not mistaken, and also related to SB Moyo. So I don't know what is going on there, but this picture is in the Herald. You can go and check it out. General Chwenga was there in Victoria Falls. He was very safe. There was no threat on him. So this is the military is going to play a very important part going forward in Zimbabwe, because as I said to you, the military is permanent. A president is temporary. And Mnangagwa is trying to do the opposite. He's trying to make himself permanent and the military temporary. And the military guys won't allow it. If you see the guys in the military, they will not allow a president to become bigger than the military. So this is what they're going to do. They're going to make sure that his life becomes very, very uncomfortable. Then let's look at other stories. Job Sikhala, as I said, spoke on Moreblessing Ali's burial. Tendai Masamanda, he has gone to court and he won. The ruling for him to be evicted from his house has been suspended. And then at the ZBC, Adelaide Chukunguru has resigned. She was facing disciplinary action. She has now resigned, and so the disciplinary hearing won't go forward. She did something. I don't know what she did, but she did something, and she was suspended pending disciplinary action. And now they have allowed her to resign peacefully. She's going to go peacefully. And as I said, we're going to see. We're going to see what is going to happen. There is a lot happening in ZBC. Robson Mandu's contract has not been renewed. Robson Mandu was caught in a sex scandal where he attempted to get one of the DJs or ladies there to give him some favors. It was a give me a cup situation, the same as the one from Vice President Mohadi. So he did the same and was recorded doing the same. So let's recap. Mnangagwa believed that the coup was in progress yesterday, so he put in place the protocol for a coup, including shutting down the airports, shutting down the barracks, removing weapons, and then he fired one of the generals, Elson Moyo, and then he also shut down the website of the military, as I showed you, unable to open fire. That's what you can see when you go to the website of the army, which means all communications was taken away from the military. They were trying to destabilize communication among the coup plotters. I hope no one died yesterday. No one was killed. That is my hope, that no one was killed during this whole process. So now let's go to the comments and shut this down. It's very early and I haven't slept. Come on, even in the USA, the president does not control the economy. Yes, because the USA is not one country. The USA is a United States of America. So you cannot control the United States. Similar to South Africa. South Africa is not one country. South Africa is 9 countries or 9 states with different premiers. So a budget for the Western Cape, Northwest, Limpopo, KZN, you can go on. Gauteng is a different country, whereas Zimbabwe is a unitary state with one president and one economy. Before the Minister of Finance does anything, the funds Mnangagwa. Before the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe does anything, the fund Mnangagwa. So that is why in Zimbabwe, you see that things are not working. It's a unitary state. What we need is to split up the country, have different provinces doing their own things. You will see that Bulawayo, Matabele North, Matabele South, they will do better differently. And this is where we need to go. That was the direction that devolution was supposed to go. McDonald says, what goes around comes around. It's true. But a coup this time, it will be very dangerous. People will die. In the next coup, people are going to die. Not a small number. But most of the big guys that you know will be killed if there's a coup now. Because each side is prepared. So Mnangagwa has got, remember last week I told you about the weapons. Someone has been getting in small arms. And I told you about that acquittal last week. So, if someone has to do a coup now, they must expect a response. And that response is not going to be simple. It's not like Mugabe. Mugabe was a sitting duck. He was told that the coup is coming. And Mugabe did not believe it. Mnangagwa expects a coup. So, you see the point Mugabe gives. Mnangagwa expects a coup. So, if you want to do a coup on Mnangagwa, you must know that you are going to a person that is ready for you. He is not sitting there thinking that there's no coup. He thinks that a coup is coming. Whereas Mugabe thought, I will never have a coup on my hands. So if there's going to be a coup this time, you're going to see firing, one side firing on the other. That is going to happen. And Faith says the coup must take place. What it did to Mugabe applies. I don't believe so. Guys, my coup, they are bad. They take years before they are resolved. Zimbabwe, it will be 100 years before you have peace if a coup takes place. So it's better when Mnangagwa steps down. That is the best thing. If he doesn't step down, to be very, very bad. And then Mkoma Edmond says, I don't think the Moyos are very pivotal in the military structure of Zimbabwe. And also, I think Mnangagwa was an ally of the Moyos. They was very trusted and somehow related to Mnangagwa in terms of the family. So if you see this happening, it's very bad. It's not normal. And I want to end here, guys. I don't want to talk things I don't know. The Zephyr guys, I've approached them. They're going to be here today to answer on what they know about this. So Mkoma Isaac, I've asked the Zephyr guys to come here and talk. I don't think the Zephyr guys are involved in these kind of things. The Zephyr guys have given 3 months ultimatum, and then we'll see what they'll do after 3 months. But 3 months is too far. Things that are happening now. Although I don't believe that Mnangagwa will be removed the way that Mugabe was removed. Mugabe was removed while sitting. He didn't react. If Mugabe had reacted, there was going to be bloodbath. Mnangagwa was not going to sit and get taken out. So if you go after Mnangagwa, it must be something that you've properly planned. You are not going to a weak person here. So I don't want people to think that Mnangagwa is weak and you can just take him out. Because he told you already, he's the army, he's the Air Force, he's the prisons, he is ZANU-PF. So if you got after Mnangagwa, you have to make sure that you go in and you're able to execute the mission and you're able to take over and able to sustain what you've done. So the sustainability of what you do after you take out Mnangagwa is what is important. What is probably going to happen is if you try to take a coup, to do a coup in Mnangagwa, it's going to take you out. You, the person that is trying to do the coup. But stability is no longer going to be there within the Zimbabwe environment. Right, I think Mukoma innocent, that's an opinion. A coup is necessary. And then Mukoma person, Idi was a soldier, he just can't suffer a coup silently, never. As I said, that's true. Mnangagwa, you're not going to just take him out like that. And obviously, I know a few things here which I won't mention. I'll let other people mention it about how Mnangagwa is preparing for a coup. But yesterday, they adopted the stance that a coup was in place. They shut down the airports, they shut down communications, the military, they take out organs. And as I showed you, the biggest sign that they adopted this is the shutting down of this website. This website showed you where the bases of Zimbabwe are, who are the generals, who is who in the Air Force, in the army, and so forth. They shut that down, and that website was removed, which means someone has got a protocol for a coup. When a coup takes place, what do we do? Who stands where? Who stands where? And I think the person who did this was testing that protocol. And now they know what Mnangagwa is going to do when there's a coup. So thank you very much, everyone, for watching. I'll be back later. In fact, I'll be back tomorrow if nothing big happens. But if something explosive happens, I'll be back. You'll be able to see me again tonight. And the Zephyr guys, we're going to have an interview with them. So the Zephyr program, I just talked to them, but it's not part of the normal Zimbabwe program. So if they come and they say they want to talk, I'll bring them here so that you can hear them. As they said, 3 months ultimatum, they want Mnangagwa and Chamisa to talk. That is separate from what is happening here in terms of a military attack on Mnangagwa. That is internal. Mnangagwa and his people fighting each other in public. Thank you very much for watching.